Alright, how are we doing reflections? And it is a prosperous day, and it is a successful afternoon, and a miraculous night to be in a higher observation. And it's your divine reflection, divine observation, and we are back with another message. And as you can see, I'm getting ready to pack to go back to my mom's spot just for this pagan ritual that helps us become closer when death is attached to the table. But other than that, though, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy these messages. And shout out to you, Jagalvi Landu. Jagalvi or Jagalvi Landu. Watching YouTuber Polarity in a specific video I am referencing of him exposing Freemasonic rituals and 33rd degree secrets. My question is for you, have you ever gone through these rituals physically? How was it detaching from the invitation and introduction to Freemasonry, considering past associations, acknowledgments, etc.? I want to say, Landu, I really appreciate. Thank you for the authentic message. And I love these questions because you helped me reawaken a traumatic experience, and just thank you for helping me stimulate my mind for today's video. And let's just not go ahead and sugarcoat anything, and let's always be transparent because people will appreciate you more. I already made a video on this experience, and y'all know me, I don't mind telling y'all the truth because I feel like people lie too much, right? So let me make sure I find the other book for y'all too. So a lot of y'all on Patreon already know I need to keep making more of the videos too. But I have one of the Masonic books that I was looking for. Oh, am I tripping? And then I had another book, but now I guess it has legs, which is nice. So with these books, excuse me, but with these books, alright, if I find it, it's fine. I need to be more organized, but it's all good. Now, because I have a second one as well, and that one I found in a suitcase. I remember telling you all that as well, but this one right here, as you can see. And before anybody says, oh, you're telling on yourself or you're a Freemason, this and that, for one, I already have my gematria. I have my whole chart, I have my whole script down on what role I play. And the thing is, I could never be something that is on the same level as a roach. And I'm being very transparent. And I know that's going to sound very odd because it's like, well, wait a minute, why do you have this booklet right here? Why do you have this, and why are you showing us that if you're not a Freemason? And this is what happened when I was basically, I don't want to use the word traffic, but basically when I was sold a dream, right? As far as the American dream. And I have gone through a ritual physically for sure. And detaching from it was, at first it was giving me guilt because I felt like I went against my gematria. As I got more wiser along the days, it was easier because I was like, well, wait a minute, let me research deeper into this. And the introduction to it showed me how ignorant they always been, because the past associations I had were meetings. I want to sit here and tell y'all the truth that many influencers are afraid to say out loud because I'm not a part of that shit. So for example, I don't go to meetings. We had a group chat that was Masons. I'm not in that group chat either. And the thing is, when you're in the meetings with them, contradict everything, question everything. I'm neither right nor wrong. Not only just that, do it to an extent. Everything I'm telling you is actually a fact, because I don't believe in fiction. In this is how some lodges will look just like this. And the thing is with these lodges, I realized that there was no intelligence in the room. That's why I had to walk away. Because my thing is in life, when I did my gematria and it told me who I was going to be and how known I was, there's a shadow side of me that went through those doors. I was the light that remained still and noticed what the shadows caught up to in that moment. And it wasn't some like, because my thing is to, if you want to know Masons, you have to be able to ask one or get to know what one is. I happened to ask my guardian, and she ended up telling me, well, I know some, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what does that make you? But at this time, I didn't know anything about it, but I was just like, they don't seem like they could be bad. They don't seem like, because I wasn't, like, for me, I was contradicting things, but I wasn't questioning the things. So I always had logic, but it wasn't at this extent of divinity. That's why when I make these Bible videos, I'm pissing people off without even trying to. I remember on my journey doing this, I was doing it to offend somebody's ego. Now I don't even try to do it. This is how I know, like, many people who know about Freemasonry, they try to get at me. They try to make sure that I question what I'm doing by walking away from it. That's why a lot of them, when they comment things and I go to their profile doesn't even fucking exist. So it's like, you're trying to get my attention because you know I'm outing what you're hiding in secrecy. Excuse me. So the ritual that, oh yeah, and before we get to that, because when I asked, I was just like, well, okay, can I meet him? Because at this time, I didn't know about Luciferianism. I only knew just about Masonry, and I would see the things on the internet, and I always thought to myself, well, that's strange. Like, there's no way people actually go through that, right? There's no way. So all that, like, scary background music and hearing the AI voices or whatever, people, what I realized is that in reality and on the internet, it's two different dimensions, and I exist in both and in another one. So because all three of these activations have been stimulated before I became a Mason, my spirit just guided me along the way. So the moment I started my spiritual journey till that moment, it was meant to happen. So when it happened, it was like I had deja vu. Hold on. Now, the thing I realized is that in my journey of life, I can't get upset with them because I met them. And when I was blind to it, I was like a Judas to a Freemason, because I said, basically, if you watch Naruto Shippuden, excuse me, I was like Itachi. The only thing is I would never sacrifice my family to help my brother become stronger, to develop more hatred for me. I can't live like that. And that's really the basis of it. I'm tired of Freemasons being infatuated with the way I think. I'm tired of people forcing me to be satanic. I'm tired of people forcing me to be Luciferian. I'm tired of people wanting me to sell my morals. I'm tired of it. And walking away was like exercising on a Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock p.m. The sun is shining pretty bright. There's no clouds outside. And you completed everything. And for some reason, the energy just feels good on this day. That's how I felt walking away, because when I was in those rooms, it was dark. And what I'm saying is duality, so it's not going to make sense. Like, at this point, I don't even care to make sense anymore. The ones who get it, you'll understand, because you realize that I have nothing to fucking hide. My thing is, society lies to us so much. I can read anybody's subconscious mind because I see the lies that I used to play in. And Masons could even teach me that. It was so boring. I was thinking about videos while being in that realm. And I had to walk through hell. For sure. I had to walk through hell to find that purpose, because you don't recruit them, they recruit you. And being recruited, I remember sitting at a table, and it was my guardian's lover, and I don't want to be too deep into family problems, but you get me. So me and him were sitting at a table, and it's in Atlanta as well. It's like on the outskirts of the city. And when we're sitting there, it was a number of Masons just sitting at the table asking, why do you want to be a Mason? And like, what's your reason? This and that. Like, what is God to you? I said, oh, this is easy. This is easy. This is going to be this easy. I'm not going to be here for too long. And I answered that question. Now the Mason part, I wasn't so sure, but I was just like, I want to be able to be around older guides that know the journey to life or the simulation. And I'm not here to think of things in a way that can be negative or good. I just want to learn. I want to be able to observe and understand why I'm here. And God to me is not God, and it can't be considered what you label as the grand architect or whatever. Now I know that as Lucifer. Back then, smoke and mirrors, when you go through that, and that's that first door. So my guardian, imagine your guardian showing you the door, like putting you on to her brothers, and you meet your brothers, and your brothers are the men in black. So imagine knowing like the Black Mafia, imagine knowing like high degree Masons who can do some things that you would just never imagine. And stuff like that, I don't want that to be attached to me, because it's just like, it's weird. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, if you do this to me, I can get you knocked off. That's weird. And I feel as if having so much power should not require us to feel this way about ourselves nor our people. And that's why the Boule, Committee of 300, Jesuits, Skull and Bones, Masons, I mean, these people are all saying this. It doesn't matter what version of God you believe in, as long as you know that there is a God. But how far do you want to go on that journey? I'm good. You can't teach me things that I can't teach myself, because I can teach myself anything. I do it daily. So how can you teach me? And you're not even teaching me the truth. I'm good. I have better things to do. And the ritual, this is the ritual right here. So, and I talk about this on my Patreon as well, but with this ritual, this is now it could be different ones, but now remember as well, many people are not going to talk like this, and that's how you know they're not being transparent. It's one thing, here's my thing. I was blind for sure, and it's my fault for asking, and I didn't think my guardian would even be one, but when I figured it out, it hurt. I said, but that feels good. It feels good to know. It feels good to know that love can hurt. I love it. I love the illusion, right, of a facade. So I said, you know what? For a little bit, I'm going to gather as much information as I can, and I'm going to expose this shit. That's what I told myself, because I wasn't going to get the help I needed, because you can ask so many questions to somebody that you know who's a Mason, but they're not obligated to tell you the deeper levels of information that you aren't ready to know. And there's a reason why. They are the gatekeepers for all information. That's why, seriously, I was born into a realm of non-angelic beings and demonic entities. That's why I choose to be alone. I choose to be in nature. I choose to be myself. I choose to get away from things and study the occult. Now I study them. I don't want anything to do with anybody who's associated with Masonry. And I'm tired of people saying, oh, you got this one Mason who's on a good side or the good spectrum of life. There is no good or bad to Masons. That's how I know you're still blind to Masonry. Like, learning about duality became easier by the day. Because I said, when you're genetically altered, and then biologically, when you're biologically being yourself in a realm of genetically altered beings, they don't want you to be as intelligent as you know you are. And they want to use that. And when I left, they contacted my guardian, and they mentioned to her, hey, like, she ended up telling me, and it wasn't a nervous questioning, but She was like, so what happened? Why don't you go back to masonry? And that's how I knew it was a problem. Why are you concerned about me leaving? What you know you're traumatized by. Got it. And so who's really the parent? And the thing is, all love to you though, if you ever see these videos, Mom. Nothing against you. But when she asked, I just said, I'm just not interested. It's not my concern, and I'm just tired of being lied to. And I'm tired of people looking me in my face and lying to me. But a lot of things fly over the bliss that people are asleep to. That's okay. Love always, right? And when she asked, so what do you want to do? Like, because they appreciate you, they are lucky to have you, and they want to speak some more with you and help you out, this and that. And it wasn't no hesitation. It wasn't let me reconsider my decision on becoming. No, there is no second thought. I said what I said. I'm not going back. I don't care how they feel. Don't check up on me. Stay to yourself. That shit's weird. It's weird. And I get being open-minded and all that, but my thing is, you work for people who suck the blood out of baby anus circumcisions. That's weird. That's a Uish practice, by the way. And if the Uish people have a chokehold on these corporations and industries and institutions that we still work for, because you can't sit here and say that you don't pay bills on insurance. So if that's the case and you're working for that as a Mason, you're weird. You enable sex trafficking, because once you're a Mason, you can become anything that you want. You're basically ahead of society. I can be ahead of myself by staying still and not seeking information. My thing is, if you become a Mason, you're losing yourself by seeking something that's already within. It defeats the purpose to even go out of your way to become what you never should have been. That's why seeking intelligence is not enlightenment. People think as if, I was told by a child, an 11-year-old named Destin Taylor, and I remember his name specifically because me and him were just doing camp, and I had my work shirt on still, so I need to take a shower before I even. But after work, I was ready to record. So me and Destin Taylor were just talking about like the vaccine. We talking about weather control. We're talking about the news, talking about God, Jesus, religion, and all that. And the answers I'm giving him, he ended up laughing, and he was just like, You're a philosopher. You should be a philosopher. You're like Shakespeare. And I told him for asking questions and answering them, and he was like, that's the way you're doing it. And I said, Destin, all I'm doing is watching you become better with the words that you hear me say. And he said, see? And I was like, what? But I respect it, because my thing is, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit to you. And he realizes that. That's why when me and the other coaches were talking, he was there, and it was just like, I was letting him in, but I was just like, nah, Destin, go be a kid. And I get how that is, because I was the exact same way. I'm always talking to older adults. I'm always talking to people who have game. And that's all I did, was just listen. So as I'm in Masonry, all I can do is just listen. I said, I can't wait to tell these motherfuckers on social media what's really going down. And it would be fake of me to go through all this and not say shit. And it's not even the fact of anybody watching, because realistically, I don't think anybody watches my videos, and that's okay. I don't feel any kind of way about that, because yet and still, do I not post every single day? Even if I don't, am I not posting every fucking week? For how many years now? It's been more than 5. So it ain't about the views or the attention. We really going through some diabolical shit. So what I'm telling people, making videos on TikTok and Instagram about social media and how it's ran by Masonry and just the umbrella of occultism in general, niggas be thinking as if I'm tripping. But it's like, yeah, I'm tripping in what they stand on. And it's like they're altering our genetics just so that we can be invited into a realm that never belonged to us. That's what hurts the most, to see people who look just like me lie to themselves about God. It got to this point. No. So even with passwords and shit like that too, Go research Boaz and Ruth and whatnot. But one of the passwords is Boaz. So they were teaching like passwords, the hand symbolism as well. And I showed y'all in the foot placement too. So the foot placement, and this says right foot in front of left foot, the stance and do guard position, slow, okay, always step off with left foot. And a lot of times, if you're at a family reunion or if you're at a picnic or whatever, or you're at the park, if you see somebody standing like with their left foot is stepping out and their right foot is like slanted, it's in your blood. Like they've all genetically altered us to be in position for their recruitment. That's why we don't go to school, we don't go to college, we don't work for ourselves, we don't learn for ourselves. We're becoming better for their utopia. And this is the oath as well, the oath initiation. And if y'all want to know more, I've already made a video on these pages on Patreon, so that link will be down below. But this is the oath. And the thing is too with the oath, after they took off my blindfold and all that, I'm gonna get into the ritual too, don't forget that. So, no, actually I'm skipping ahead. So, once we, and two, it's basically like selling your soul. But the thing is though, you gain it back, and that's why like, that was such a dark time. And when I made that video, it was hard to make because, damn, Guardian, why couldn't you tell me that this is what goes down? But yet, it's still me. And it was in my gematria. I put my first and last name, and I put famous, and I put Freemason. And that shit all lined up in 3 ciphers. And I happened to do that just out of just thin air. I was just like, let me try something. I said, fuck. So, because it's like everywhere I go, I'm making memories of someone. So it's like I can leave and come back. They'll always remember me. And that's why when somebody asks, do I feel like I'm an inspiration to somebody younger than me out there? I said, unfortunately. Why? And I just said, because I want them to be a better example than me. Because everything I did has already been done, it's been captured already. All I'm doing is being aware of the timeline that I froze. So now it's like I'm ahead of what time can't keep up with anymore. Which is why mentally I want them to be smarter and way more determined to get things done. And never let yourself go. Not for knowledge, fuck no. Not for money, fuck no. Who do you think you're donating to? Why do you think there's some people out at Walmart or Publix or Target or whatever for the holidays with the bell saying donations, donations? They're a charity. It's like, get real with yourself. It's deceitful and disgusting. After, cause they had a song like this blue paper, excuse me, and my guardian, she paid my way, and her lover had his own payment. At this time, I had like my intuition talking to me, and it was in a knowing of, this doesn't even feel right spiritually. And I really thought as if I was going to communicate with men who are just outstanding in life, and they're honest, but they're youthful, they're respectful, and they honor themselves. But once I seen what goes down, yeah, it's like watching people wanting to destroy the world, but in front of you, they're acting as if they're innocent. Like they're regular citizens. They walk like your lawyers, your doctors, your professors, teachers, actors, anybody. And they're everywhere. And once the paper went through, I was thinking to myself, damn, I gotta figure this out. because I'm not going to be blind by what I think this is. The energy of evil is so distinct that it doesn't talk loud like you think it does on the internet. It's so deceitful to where you're being watched 24/7, because it's not about them. It's about recruits, Hunger Games type shit, Attack on Titan. Who's the one that's going to last? Who's the one that's going to survive the test, the challenges, the deception, the smoke and mirrors, the first level, that first doorway that celebrities talk about? Yeah, that's real. That's why being famous is who has the saddest story, who has the worst trauma, who has trauma that people yearn to have. People are so worried about the broken down, but yet you're breaking down, worried about somebody who was born to be broken down, and yet you're rich. How is that wealthy? And once that happened, I didn't know how to talk to my guardian because she's not open-minded. She's been traumatized for so long when it came to the occult. I don't even know who she is. And that's why I became spoiled, because love was bought. It wasn't just exchanged through a want or just a necessary necessity, or just a feeling that you do because you don't expect anything from a light that you gave shadows to. But I chose to be a part of this shadow Nephilim society. And this is when spiritually I understood in my Akashic realms, my giant bloodline and all that. And I noticed all this stuff when I was going through the ritual. So in the room, my thing is too, I'm being as distinct as I can with this story time. Just making sure that I don't leave anything out. So, as you can see, preparation, an ante room. This is when me and Buddy, this is when we had to wear a white shirt, black sweats, and this was further along the process of becoming whatever Satanists are, detached from that label. And this is where the spirit came in over the social construct of, oh, I thought, or I expected, or I think, I assume. No, critically thinking out of the norm. Once we had this attire, I'm gonna go back to that. It was a leg. Where's the leg pull at? So as you can see, we had to do this with the sweats as well. And the craziest part was with the ritual, it was a room. I mean, of course you're blindfolded. That's when the spirit activates. And the thing is, when that happens, you have no choice but to either walk away, or you don't know what happens when you walk away. So if you're going to stay, you have no choice but to exist with the almighty frequency, watching itself through you. And what people do, what cannibals do, energy leeches, harvesters, and being in that room. And this song I despise to this day, This Little Light of Mine. I even hate saying that because, and this is not even an exaggeration, this is not theatrical. I despise theater because of them too. I mean, I can't even watch movies without seeing them. They're fucking everywhere, even in video games. It's insane. But singing that song damn near gave me nightmares, because it's like, this is not what I thought enlightenment would be. That's when I knew. And knowing me, I wanted to go into the Akashic. I wanted to go into, that's why I can't get mad at nobody. That's why I can't feel any kind of way. Because how do you feel the observation that Gematria knew before you were born? Crazy. So when I'm saying that with Buddy, he's in front of me, I have my right hand, excuse me, I had my right hand on his shoulder, and we're saying it. And I was like an affirmation, like this is a ritual, humiliation ritual. And so when that happened, I'm thinking to myself, damn, I don't like this shit. This is uncomfortable. And not only just that, it's belittling. And I said, say less. And what's crazy, why not just get up and walk away? Exactly. I wanted to see something, but yet I was blind. What's that song? Yeah, so not only is that, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Like, once we were going through that ritual, now that was a random, like, tune in my head, my bad. But once we were doing that ritual, it was in a circle. I didn't know if it was a pentagram. I don't know what it was, but I was feeling the energy in the room. I was in the shadows as a light bearer. And I told myself, if I'm dancing in chaos right now, and I'm fired up to use my spirit to master these elements, what am I doing it for? And how should I go about this? And I said, you have to expose what's going on. So where they had to shadow ban you, you had to get prepared to face death. Get prepared to get banned. That's why I've been banned damn near 9 times just on TikTok alone. Because they know. That's why I only saying this shit for no reason, because they know. I guarantee myself that I am the only one, there's probably more, but I am the only one who's going to sit here and tell you what to not go into. I'm not going to be the person that's going to say, yeah, you're intelligent and this is what's going to happen in your life and you're going to be a Freemason. No. If you tell me, hey, I want to become one, okay. Hey, be safe. Much love to you from a distance. Don't talk to me at all whatsoever. That's why when people say, like, some of these random people who don't have a profile picture, they'll be like, somebody was like, oh, you sound like a Mason talking about Luke 7 or whatever. I was like, that's how I know you don't know yourself. Knowing what a Mason is now, disgusting, despicable. That's like looking at a roach farm. Gross. I'll vomit on Freemasons. It's insulting. It's a mockery. And not only just that, it's idiocracy. How the fuck are you going to seek knowledge that you can sit still with outside of your sisterhood, calling them brothers? Okay. And if you know what's going on in a simulation and yet you still partake in it in silence and in secrecy, how pussy is that? And it's like, if you're gonna do things in the dark, it'll eventually come to the light, right? Hey, welcome to the light. But wait a minute, you're blind, so what light do you see? That's why the brighter my mind became, the less I felt hurt in. Because what can I get hurt in? I can only feel peace. That's chaotic to say though, right? And that's why they wanted my intelligence. They wanted my mind, my body, my soul, my solar observation. Like these, that's why a lot of the music that I play, I'm giving you game, showing you the message of what they want you to be. Don't fall into the trap. Don't fall into it. That's why I would never want to sell my morality. And you can actually get that back, because it's one thing to know about Masons, but you're going in there thinking as if it's one thing. It's like, okay, because you ain't know. Curiosity killed the cat. This is what happens, so be prepared. But it's different when your guardian's also known. So it's like, if your guardian's known, you're protected, but you can also get that smoke, just depending on who you are and how you operate spiritually. There's another side to where you know about Masonry and you still go into it. And then it's not only that you go into it, but you don't stop. You keep climbing. You're lost. When I seen that there was a first door, and I learned what the rooms were, ooh, I don't even care about the second, the third. I don't care how deep the levels get. I'm walking out. And that was okay for me. When I turned away, after a while, after some days, I was like, why I feel guilty? That was just the experience. I'm glad I saved myself and my morality. It was gonna get very dark. It was gonna get very deceitful. And my thing is too, you would know if my videos can be like this. Like, this is basically a video to where you can kick your feet up, you can smoke you one, drink you one, you can just relax, you can just do exercises through it. These videos are meant to help you understand that you are not alone. There is somebody out there, no pun intended, who really understands what you could become and what you could walk into and what you can fall in. I already took that lesson. I took those steps for you so that you don't have to do it. That's why when I make these videos on celebrities, I can see them. They're my siblings. I know these motherfuckers. And I don't mean actually walking up to them, but we're in the same realm. You know what's going on. That's why when I'm adding them, they can't say shit. But you can see it though. You see it. Don't act like you don't. And it's different when you're consistent. Because all they are known for is being your observer. They observe the communities that they leech off of. These people are not genuine people. I'd rather be genuine and walk away and still have my morality intact. Never had to get bug broken. Never had to please anybody. Never had to be a kiss ass. Fuck all that shit that you telling me. If you gotta kill me, so be it. I've been accepted death the moment I was born, so I'm cool on living. I'm cool on that shit. That's exactly why the ones who really talking like this, these are the ones who know about consciousness. Fuck spirituality. That's grade school level work now. I remember being in that realm too, so I can't sit up here and shit on spirituality, no. But once you know that there's two sides to the same consciousness of God and Satan, things get wicked. Yeah, things get wicked. Not only just that, when you know God is Satan, things get wicked. Things get wicked. That's when you stop believing in God and you know that you are becoming what you could never become. Because what are you becoming when you're already being? And my acknowledgements, because even after that, that was when, because once you go through the ritual and whatnot, like nothing else happens. You end up going through this phase right here, and then it's like you had to swear on the oath or whatever. And I told myself, something I researched, I was like, it's funny how I noticed that now politicians and just these hierarchies, you can see them, they have pictures as well, having their hand on the Bible and swearing on an oath. And it's just like, you were born to lie. So why do you think that you can tell the truth and society will believe it? But society believes these truths, but are they really just lies that are dressed as their truth? Once I learned that truth and fiction both are in the same family, I stopped caring. Because my thing is, I was bored. I was like, I'm doing side quests at this point. I beat the game at an early age. So everything I do now is just informational. All I want to do is give game before it's time for me to lead the game. All I can do is just give my transparency to you, because I experienced some things that if I didn't say it, it wouldn't exist. Not just that, I'm learning from my faults, because I didn't have somebody that's going to sit up here and say, hey, don't do that. Don't go into that. This is what's going on. I would ask people, what is a Mason? What is a Mason? Oh, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. That's not for you to know. You're too young. I'm so tired of hearing you're too young. I said, you know what? Fine. If I'm too young to know, I'm going to know. Now that I know, who knows what? Shit became easy. I learned more outside of Freemasonry. And that was good, because I wasn't willing to pursue it. I was just eavesdropping. And I said, you know what, this is boring. They don't even have intelligence. Like, they could have the smartest, like, they could be a 60 or 50 or 70-year-old up in that bitch. It's like when they open their mouth, disgusting. It's pathetic. It's a damn shame, realistically. And there are times to where, and this is what they want too, they want you to beat yourself up. And there are times to where I think about experiencing that. And that's why I feel better again. Because it's like, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be here answering this question. So something's in alignment. So I will be making a video with my gematria script, letting you know and showing you that a lot of these influencers cannot do this because they're handled. You cannot handle my consciousness. It's infinite. You can't even touch it. You can't even hold on to it, because if you do, you'll fall into yourself. Have a great Nirvana Divine Reflection. Reflections, you can see I'm packing up at the moment. I wanted to mention, I figured out that they were Luciferians when I was at my other department. I was working at a YMCA in Stone Mountain. And if you peep what I just said too, you'll understand the time that we're in right now. If you're keeping up with the storyline that's going to come true in the future, just watch. Now, in Stone Mountain, if you know about the outskirts of Georgia and all that, there was a guy who was also a Mason, and he had the ring and whatnot, and I was on a bus route with him. We had to pick up the elementary school kids and the middle school kids for after school. And I was talking to him, I said, hey, you know, you a Mason and whatnot. And he was just telling me what group he was with, what their number was, what city, what lodge they're from. And then that's when I was just like, so how long you been one? He was like, it's for some years. So when he was telling me that, I was like, okay. And then we were going deeper into it. I was like, are they Luciferians? And he basically confirmed my answer and started laughing. He was just like, so if you are one, I'm gonna let you know they are. And that's why I'm not partaking in it as well. And I was like, well, why do you still attend? And he was like, I mean, I just pay my due diligence. I just pay my dues, my charity and whatnot. And I go about my way. I'm like, you're still getting oppressed by what you signed up for. You can walk away. He was like, yeah, I know, but I'm gonna tell you because you're young. It's like, just escape from it, bro. Like, don't get lost in it and whatnot. And this happened earlier, I wanna say earlier this year. It was earlier this year or earlier last year. But yeah, when that happened, he was just telling me, putting me on game. So I meant to put that into the story time, but I just wanted to include this in the after part because I was just thinking about it when I was packing up. But yeah, that was also a part of the story time. So I had a bus route at my old job, and that was when the guy who was a Mason, he probably still is one, because he had the whole shit, the necklace, he had the ring. I was like, oh, you're full blown. But when he told me that, I was just like, you know what, I'm not going to second guess it. That's the sign, I'm gone. That's when it was confirmed, oh, they're Luciferian. And then when I kept seeing it on social media, when I kept reacting to the videos and whatnot, it made more sense in my alignment. So that's another reason why Luciferianism is not an attraction in my life. I can't sit with it. I can't communicate with it. I can't eat at the same table with it. I just can't be around it. It's too leechful, it's draining, and it's just a problem in society. And that's exactly why humanity is cursed under the umbrella of Luciferians. Have a great and divine reflection.